Welcome to Obstacle Running Adventures,
the podcast that fuels your passion for obstacle course racing,
running, and all things adventurous.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or a weekend warrior,
we've got news updates as well as interviews with athletes
and other key members of our athletic community.
As a weekly show since 2017, we have covered everything from
championship and virtual races
to fundraising events and FKTs. And now, here are your hosts,
Michael Stefano and Caitlin Ritter.
Standing on the corner, lost all my clothes.
Hey guys, it's Michael Stefano.
And Caitlin Ritter.
And Caitlin, how was your weekend?
We went to is this mean if I call it a nerdy convention?
I mean, that's literally what I wrote under small talk, so I guess it's not that mean.
Like people in costumes nerdy.
Yeah. Not as many as you would think. It was like a mini, like not even like a PAX or anything. It was just like it was like a nerdy convention. There was like Pokemon and like cartoon stuffs and...
But you had a great time.
It was fun, yeah. We planned like a day to get out of the house because I'm like, I don't know, we've been home more often than usual and that is pretty boring. So we were able to find things to do. So it was fun.
And then we watched The Departed.
Yes, yeah, which amazed me that you hadn't seen before.
Yeah, apparently not, because I feel like I would remember that movie.
Yes, it's such a good movie. If anyone hasn't seen that movie, go watch that movie. That is, for better or worse, a little bit of Boston there.
And it's leaving Netflix September 30th, so watch it soon.
Yeah, awesome. And yeah, it was a fun weekend, and it's the work week again, and hopefully next weekend we'll figure things out. Work has been terrible lately.
I know, I'm sorry.
For you as well?
Just my job has changed, so it's just different.
Yeah.
And I'm having a hard time with change.
Yeah. Not great. If you're having trouble with your jobs, we agree with you lately.
But next weekend we can plan something fun.
Yeah, we said that last week. Well, we did do something fun. We'll plan something else.
Did you not have fun at the nerdy convention?
I did.
And the hot dog place?
That was interesting. Not my favorite place, but Weenies and Teenies. But it wasn't that. It was another place that's a ripoff of that.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because that place was called Willie's.
No, this place was called Wally's.
Wally's Wieners. Gotcha. I don't know. It was interesting, though.
Shout out to our sponsors. Mudgear, use a code ADVENTURE for 15% off your next Mudgear purchase. And Caterpie, use code OCRReport20 for 20% off your next Caterpie purchase. And if you're running a Spartan Deca or Tough Mudder event, use code OCRReport20 for 20% off those events, except it doesn't work on World's Toughest Mudder.
Do you know if it works outside the country? I'd imagine so.
I would think
I don't
so.
know. Interesting. We're also going to thank the Patreon supporters. We're going to thank the $5 plus supporters.
Jason Dupree, Samantha Thompson, Bradley Keel, Charlotte Engelman, Aaron Grindstaff, Laura and Stephen Ritter, Hank and Arlene Stefano, Cheryl Miller, Jessica Johnson, Christopher Hoover, Kevin Gregory Jr., Evan Irick, Brent George, Logan Nagel, Asa Connington, Seth Renderknecht, Steve Bacon, Robert Landman, and Julianne Perkins Estes.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for the support. We greatly appreciate it. As well to the OCR Report for being a great home for us on the internet.
And to Will Hicks.
The Podfather. Check it out over at the OCRReport.com. Right now, it's the most boring it's ever been because it's fantasy football crap. And I will go to bat and say that as nerdy as Pokemon cards are, sports people, pretty fucking nerdy.
Yeah.
Pretty nerdy.
They are pretty
Waiting
nerdy.
In a kayak to like catch the ball. And this
okay,
and that.
That's so cool though.
That is kind of cool.
Don't knock on that.
Still kind of nerdy.
Oh,
Sponsored athletes.
Javier Escobar, Kelly Sullivan, Ryan Brizzalara, Joshua Reed, and Kevin Gregory.
Yeah. We didn't do a poll this week, did we?
No, but I have a doom scroll of the week.
Is that a thing we're doing?
Maybe just this time.
All right.
Okay, I'm going to show you a video, and you're going to give me your initial reaction.
Is it going to have sound on, or am I going to have to like edit it out?
It does have sound, but not like...
Music?
Right.
Okay. I have no idea what's going to be happening here, so...
Do you want to describe it to the people?
Well, it's 6 seconds long, apparently. And it says when you gave your boyfriend extra snacks to give you during your marathon, and he eats them all.
Ready?
Okay.
Would you dump him at the finish line?
Dump him? No, but
what?
Have a stern talking to. That's That is a bit of a red flag.
Look at that devastation look on her face.
Wait, how long is the race? Oh, it's a marathon.
It's a marathon.
Yeah, no, that's pretty fucked up.
I feel like if that happens at whatever mile, do you know what I would be thinking about from that mile until the end? I would be stewing in hatred.
Yeah, I'm sure there's other factors, but like that's a major red flag. How do you eat all the snacks?
Right?
Yeah. Huh.
Did you like that new segment?
That was interesting. I guess it kind of tied into like as a meme of the week.
Oh, I also have a meme of the week.
Oh, wild. Okay. We'll get back to the episode in a bit, guys. All right. So it's 2 astronauts on what I presume to be the moon because the Earth is within sight. And one astronaut is holding what is it called? A weight bar? A deadlift bar? With a whole bunch of weights on it. And he's saying, look how strong I am. Get it? Because of gravity.
Cute.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to head on over to quick news, starting with the fact that there's a Hyrox fast lane.
Oh, I saw this.
Yeah.
Hybrid Media Fitness posted...
You did it again.
What did I call it?
You said Hybrid Media Fitness. That made even less sense.
Hybrid Fitness Media posted, Hyrox has literal fast lane police on course now. Step in that lane and you're expected to hold approximately a 6-minute, 26-second mile.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Fast.
Yeah, so people worry that the second lane is now going to get clogged with other people. So that'll be interesting. Makes sense, though.
Yep. The Trifecta World Championship will return to...
Spartan, Greece. I think a lot of people feel like it was a mistake for it to come here, myself included.
Yeah, because, like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Obstacle Racing Media, hey, I nailed that one, said, after a 1-year stop in West Virginia, Spartan Race is moving their Trifecta World Championship back to Greece. Before this year, it
had been one of the most popular racecation destinations for age group athletes worldwide. There's no word on whether Spartan plans to alternate the championship between continents in the future. So, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Absolutely.
Kind of bummed out that I missed it this year. A little bit. Now we get to some podiums. Only 3 podiums, and the podiums will consist of the Spartan World Championship events. Starting with the sprint, which was on Friday.
Okay. In 3rd place for the women, Annie Doobie. In 2nd place, Sabrina Bolhager. And in 1st place, oh my goodness, Klara Lokajakova.
Sure.
Thanks. And for the men, in 3rd place, Jan Vleiter. In 2nd place, Brandon Neely. And in 1st place, Richard Heineck.
Perfect. And now for the super, which happened on Saturday.
For the women, in 3rd place, Lisa Musacchio. In 2nd place, Klara... I just said it. Lokajukikova. And in 1st place, Anna Doobie. And for the men...
Annie. Yep.
Oh, sorry. And for the men, in 3rd place, friend of the show, Logan Broadbent. In 2nd place, Igor Belosov. And in 1st place, Richard Heineck.
Yeah. And then for the final results overall, so what they do is they take your times and then they release you on a rolling basis for the Beast on Sunday.
In 3rd place, Sabrina Bolhager. In 2nd place, Klara Lokajakova. And in 1st place, Annie Doobie.
And for the men.
And for the men, in 3rd place, John Vlader.
Jan, I think.
Jan?
Actually, I don't know. Yeah.
It's probably like Yok, not Yok, Jan. In 2nd place, Igor Belosov. And in 1st place, Richard Heineck.
Yeah, so now Richard Heineck, I believe, is the first 3-time winner. I should double check that. But congratulations to them. I'd like to see how there's American representation would be nice and all, but it's good to see that there were some good European athletes that came out for this.
Where is Richard Heineck from?
Had him on the show too. Czech Republic? Google Czech Republic.
You're right, the Czech Republic.
There we go. That's gonna bother me if we couldn't figure it out, because we're supposed to know that stuff. Secret links, there's 5 of them down below, so let's get to what this episode is all about, though. Rea Kolbl put up a post about her return to Spartan race in her home country of Slovenia, interest in Spartan Ultra World Championships, and owed Spartan money, unfortunately. I reached out to her to have her on the show to talk about what she's done in terms of athletic pursuits since moving back to Europe, and the aforementioned things, as well as any interest in World's Toughest Mudder. Let's get to that interview.
Would be starstruck if she ran World's Toughest Mudder and I ran World's Toughest Mudder.
Yeah, she's the best. So let's hear from Rea. We'll start off with your name and where you're from.
My name is Rea Kolbl, and I'm from Slovenia now.
Awesome. Well, it's terrific to see you again. And it's been years since we've had you on the show. What have you been up to the past few years?
Oh gosh, lots of different things. I moved back home from Europe, from US to Europe. That took actually all of my summer last season. And I wasn't really racing last summer either because I got a little sick and I was also focusing more on winter sports. I did a lot of SkiMo. I tried to make it to the Olympics with the Slovenian national team, but we came up short for that. But it taught me a lot, including what I love, which is kind of going back to endurance now. But yeah, I've been trail racing. I've been a little bit of bike racing, ski mountaineering racing. I did a Spartan race again.
Yes, we'll get into that. Yeah.
A couple weeks ago. But yeah, I've been coaching a lot too. So I have my own coaching business. So that has been taking up also quite a bit of my time. I think that's about it.
Yeah, real quick on that too. So it's Kolbl Athletic Performance and Endurance. How has it been going transitioning from, well, not only just being the athlete, but being the athlete and also coaching?
Yeah, I've been coaching now for 6 years. So okay. I think I've gained quite a bit of experience with what works and what doesn't. And I feel like I'm in a spot now where I can relate to the athletes a lot better than what I used to have. And I can also use the science knowledge from just the research and all of the training that I've done in a way where I've kind of learned where you stick to the data and where you don't. So yeah, I really enjoy it. I also just recently started to coach myself as well. I've had coaches before, but just because I didn't think I could listen to myself. And I feel like that's kind of been the biggest win now is that I can take rest days and be okay with them. And I don't need a coach telling me I need to.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's actually you had a recent post. I think it said, a feeling that I've finally extinguished all the fires and stopped getting in my own way. Let the talent that's always been there complement all the work that I put in. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, so I feel like especially the last 6 years have been really hard for me. I've gone through like eating disorder recovery and all of that, and I think it just took a lot longer than I thought it would. And then I just had a lot of stress on like a personal level, maybe like last few years when I lived in US and I was always kind of searching for a new place to live. But I think I didn't realize that I was really searching for a way to come back to Europe for, the last few years. So I think moving back, I guess I just didn't realize how much all that external stress really affected my performance. I just never really quite felt like I was reaching my potential to the point where I started wondering if the potential is still there at all. But I approached this summer more in I picked the races that looked really beautiful to me, not necessarily races where I thought I would perform well or I had like any other reasons other than just wanting to explore the course. And I also just think that settling down and having a place now that I call home that I feel really good at, both with what I have available to train, to explore, and just the place itself and the lifestyle back in Europe, I think is what I've been missing lately. And I think when all of that calmed down, my body really relaxed to the point where now it's able to perform again. And maybe I didn't appreciate how much you really need to have your life in order for there to be performance on a sport level.
Yeah, no, that's fair. There's stress is stress, right? Like we all
Yes.
go through it, but I can also only imagine moving like to another country and then moving back home. And I can imagine the pros and cons of that. I imagine like being reunited with your family and like all your friends and stuff. How has it been? Like, feels better? Feels like more like home?
Yeah, I live now with my mom. She gave me and my boyfriend the upper part of her house, so we spent last summer renovating that too. So last summer was just all sorts of stressful. But yeah, it just feels like, I loved my time in US. Like it was great. I saw so many things. I explored so many places. I made so many great friends. I think it opened up also my mindset to, so much diversity I would never experience if I stayed at home this whole time. But I think also where you grow up kind of sets your core values and kind of the lifestyle that feels like home to you. And I love the hustle that I had to do in US. Like it was fun to create, to invent, to like make something of myself. But then I think as I got older, I started to crave more of the, like Sundays, everything is closed and you're not going to achieve anything, and that's okay. People don't work in the afternoon. So like I get my work done in the morning, and what I don't, what's not done by 3 p.m. is just going to be done the next morning. And I think just having this time to like for hobbies and for relaxing and for sometimes doing nothing and like or gardening is just something that I didn't have in US, and I was okay with that. But I think maybe long term that wasn't for me.
Yeah, no, to be honest, that does sound nice to be done by by 3 p.m. and everything. A nice slower style life. I'm making some changes of my own and trying to get to that as well. But back to the events and everything that you've been doing. It seems like every time I check your Instagram, it's like, oh, she's doing this, she's doing that, she's doing this. Can you explain to people that don't truly understand? They understand skiing, but what exactly is SkiMo?
Yeah, so SkiMo is kind of skiing uphill and downhill. So for those that backcountry tour, it's this, but on lighter gear. So you can move a lot faster. And essentially, we're running up on skis that have special skins on the bottom so that they can glide. They glide forward, but not backwards, so you don't slide down the hill. And then you take that off, you change the boot a little bit so the heel is not moving. And then you clip in, and then you can ski down like you're skiing. And there's usually some foot parts in between. So I kind of got into it when I moved to Colorado when the winters were really hard for running. And it seemed like a much better way to be active in the winter. And I love skiing because I did it when I was little in Europe. And that just seemed like a cheap way to do it, which at the end, it's not that much cheaper because then you need all this special equipment. Right. And whenever you break skis, it's like more expensive because you're not in ski resorts where there's enough snow all the time. So it's basically up and down skiing.
And then stupid question, because I have watched this too. Like, what is it about the skins that keep you from sliding backwards too? Because I'm amazed, like seeing you guys go like up and then take them off and then go down. And
yeah, they have like directional hair. So if you think they're almost like a carpet that's like tilted in one direction. So if you go this way, it's smooth. But if you go that way, the hairs kind of stand up and now they become like sticky. Gotcha. So you can't really rub it in this way. So also on the snow, when you try and go backwards, the hair is not going to want to go that direction. So it'll grip. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. And then, so how's it been, again, doing all these sports now, being welcomed not only back home, but welcome to various fitness and athletic communities now?
Yeah, so actually that part hasn't changed that much. I feel like, especially when you're on a higher level, and especially because I have different schedule than most of the people here. Most of the people here work in the morning. There's not as much remote work, not as many people with flexibility that they can just go random hours of the day. In the mountains, I still mostly train alone, but I did make some friends that I have company for the days I want to have company. But I think if you ask any endurance athletes, there are just a lot of hours by yourself. And I think you have to enjoy that in order to want to be an endurance athlete. So my boyfriend and I do a lot of things together. And then I have a few friends that I do longer days in the mountain with them. But just like it was in US, I still train majority of time by myself.
Yeah. And then when it comes to, getting to the finish line, talking to all these like different kind of elite athletes, does your background of like OCR and endurance OCR like ever come up? And if so, like how do people react to that?
I think it's just not as well known. My mom actually said because she was at the last races that I did that I won, that they did tell all the events that I've won in the past, including the OCR events. But I just don't think it's quite as well known. And like also the communities are quite separate. So yeah, I don't think it has come up as much.
That's fair. I expected that. But as for yourself too, like what are some skills? I know that ultimately, I think you first got your start with gymnastics, right? So what skills have you pulled from like gymnastics and OCR to these new athletic endeavors?
I think it's just stubbornness in a way to keep going. So when you start a new thing, especially like when I tried new sports, I was really bad at the start. But that kind of always motivated me to keep trying and get better. But I'm not sure if that's so much learned from gymnastics or more, just a trait that makes you then attracted to sports like this. But I think if I've learned something is that it's good to not do things like at a too extreme level, both from gymnastics and I think from OCR as well. I took it very, very seriously from the start. And then I think that kind of shortened my career or shortened the length of the career that I was doing things in a healthy way. And I'm really trying to apply that to whatever I do now, is just to not take it too seriously and like prioritize family and relationships and things over training sessions and things like that. And I think I'm hoping that keeps things a lot more sustainable from now on.
Yeah, it's all about that balance. It's so hard to find, but we're all working to find that, right?
Yeah.
And so kind of brings us to more recently, you've raced your first Spartan race since 2022 in Slovenia. How did that go?
I was so sorry I couldn't drive the car the next day. It also was super rainy. So historically, I have not done well with obstacles in the rain. I just don't have that like grip strength that I could hold on to wet metal bars.
Right.
So if I was like, shoot, that's going to be a lot of burpees, and it was a lot of burpees. I ended up doing 120 of them because I was kind of hoping. I have been following OCR a little bit, and so I saw they moved to like running penalties.
Right.
And I was hoping there would be running penalties, but there just weren't any. So I like failed monkey bars, I failed the twister, I failed the beater, I barely made the multi-rig because I could chicken wing it. I failed the spear throw. So it was just like a burpee show. But I've been feeling really, really good running. So it was fun being able to catch the women that actually managed to do the obstacles. And also, I think everybody just struggled because it was so slippery. And then I also feel like once you're doing a lot of burpees, it's generally harder to have that upper body strength that you need to do the obstacles. So I think it just kind of feeds on itself. But I was so surprised because I got to the rope climb, which was like in the finish area, gauntlet. And I tried to pull up like I always have, and the bicep just wasn't working. And I was like, oh, well, this is something new I haven't experienced before. So then I really had to use my legs to climb the rope, which I've never really had to pay much attention to. So I've certainly lost a lot of upper body strength because I haven't done an upper body workout since my last race. And also I haven't been racing, which also kind of maintains and builds upper body strength. But it was fun. I kind of remember why I used to love racing these so much, and I'm actually thinking of going to Murzin next year and doing the ultra there.
Yes.
I've heard really good things about the course, and I think it's the kind of course that I would really like.
I want to say like it looks beautiful, but from all of the races that I've seen in Europe, like all of them seem really beautiful to me.
Yeah.
It's very different out there, and I think you said that there was.
Yeah.
I think you said there was like a castle on course, and you got to run on like hometown streets. Like that sounds incredible.
Yeah, it was an urban race, which, I wouldn't like travel somewhere to, but because it was at home, it just felt kind of special to do it. And it's like, it was through the city center, which is closed for traffic and has cobblestone streets and like very narrow passages. And then the Ljubljana's castle is a little up on like a 100-meter hill, like 300 feet. So we were doing circles around there, and we were throwing spear throws like right next to the castle walls.
Wow.
So it was just really cool. And then it finished in the big square. And it was a night race as well. So we were supposed to go off at 7 p.m. And I didn't bring a headlamp because I wasn't even thinking that I would need one. And then the start was delayed, and we just barely finished before nighttime.
Oh.
By the later heats, it was actually intended to be a night race when like all the people are out and about. Usually there's a lot of people, but because it was pouring rain, maybe the spectatorship wasn't quite as high as what they hoped to be.
Well, we'll definitely get back to castles in a second, but I was going to ask about like any differences between, I know you've been out of the game for a little bit, but Spartan in the US and Spartan there, but like we don't really have night races. We don't really do urban races anymore, which is a bummer. And what's the third one? We don't have castles. And yeah, and we've moved away from the burpees. I guess any other differences? Did you have like different obstacles?
Obstacles were all pretty much the same. There's a slack line in Europe that I don't know if it's
Right.
made its way to US yet. I think OCR and Spartan in Europe is still a little bit like going back in time in US. So things are not very standardized. A super on Sunday was like 8 kilometers instead of 10. So you have a little bit of that. I'm not sure what I expect from this race. And I think also there are no maps available ahead of time that show which obstacles are where.
Okay.
So it has a little bit of that element of surprise and a little bit of ruggedness that maybe US has lost over the years. And yeah, and apparently the prize money pays. I haven't experienced that because I haven't done a race like this one didn't have any prize money. But I have heard from athletes that you have to know who's paying the prize money.
Yes, no, that is definitely good to hear. So going back to castles now, you know what other race has a castle? World's Toughest Mudder. I know that we're going to talk about Spartan Ultra World Championships, but any thoughts on like going to like spectate or like pit or maybe participate as like a team or something with World's Toughest Mudder? Any interest in coming back to that? Because I know you're one of the best women to ever do it, one of the best people ever to do it.
The thought has crossed my mind. um, Especially, I removed myself from like endurance when I was trying to pursue my Olympic dreams because those races were 3 and 10 minutes long. So
Right.
it was just no way I was going to be able to do the really long stuff. But now that I'm back, I'm kind of back thinking what brought me the most joy and happiness. And I think it was these really long events. I have actually looked today where the next, not today, this year, where the next year's races are going to be. But I think I need some time to figure out if I can go into that level of hurt again.
Right.
Because while they are really magical and you get so much out of them, and they also take a lot away from you in terms of what you have to put in, how much of yourself you have to put in for a race like that to be successful in.
Yeah.
And I'm only going to go back when I feel like I have that to give again. I don't want to go back and do it 50%. And also, like, historically, that has already been my transition to the winter sports. But with the winters getting worse and worse, maybe I'll still be running in November. For sure not this year, but I haven't ruled it out forever.
And that's another interesting change too, is now it's in June instead of November.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know that.
Yes. So that's a factor. A lot more sunshine. I went last year. It was my wife's first time running World's Toughest Mudder, and it was an experience. But they only had like 2 hours of darkness, which was really interesting. It was unseasonably hot. It was one of the warmest ones we've ever had, which means the next one's probably going to be absolutely frigid and raining. But it was just such a really cool experience. And I'm like, I have to ask her if she has any interest because it's my favorite event of the year. And it was really great because I got to go over to Europe for the second time, fortunately, this year and experience like the different cultures, the different food, different snacks. So, yeah.
It was in UK, right?
Yes.
I think it was.
Yep. At a castle, Beaver Castle, spelled like Belvoir, which is interesting. But it was a really interesting venue. I guess I hear that the ground is usually more giving, but since it was so hot, it basically baked it like bricks. And so like a lot of people's feet were going, but it's interesting too, because like there's a whole new field there now. There's I don't know if you've heard of like Nikki Karumba, but she's from South Africa. And she's won the last 2 years and she seems really great. And, so good stuff. But you said you are interested in Spartan Ultra Championships in Morzine, which is cool. So what got you interested in that?
I think back when I was still racing, Morzine seemed like a venue I'd want to race at, and it just I could never make it. But I really love steep courses, and I hear there's like a little bit of ridgeline running too. So the course itself is appealing, and I think I've seen when they climb up this like net from one swim that also looked really good. So the obstacles also look kind of more rugged, and I think the 50K, the like ultra, not the 24-hour ultra, is a really great distance because you can still run it fast. It's not so much how much suffering you can push through, and you can recover from it pretty quickly. So it's like a really good midsummer event that I could train for and try to be really fast at, but doesn't necessarily have to take up my entire summer.
Yeah, no, you answered my next question too, because it was really odd that, Spartan was doing their 24-hour and Tough Mudder was doing their 24-hour, and Spartan's Ultra has always been like the 50K or like whatever their ultra distance is. So it was weird that their championship was different from all the other events. So
exactly,
it makes sense that it's going back to this format. But when
I have to do some clubs though.
Yes, and it sounds like, because I was talking to some of the American ladies that competed over there, like Cassandra Gill, they said that some of the penalties were like really heavy chain carries. That were
I've carried the chain. They're really, really heavy.
they sound heavy. So I was looking to find like pictures and videos of that, but they said that was like really grueling and unexpected. But the climbing definitely suits you as well. But I guess one of the things holding you back from these things is Spartan's continued payment issue. Can you talk to us a bit about how it's affected you?
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily it's not that I don't race anymore because of it.
Right.
But I'm hesitant going back to US events and supporting a brand that doesn't owe up to its commitments to athletes. Like I don't live paycheck by paycheck. So like the fact that they haven't paid yet is not that I can't really afford, my rent or anything like that. But I just feel like if you are going to promise something and if you are going to advertise prize money, people spend, they spend their income to get to the race that maybe they wouldn't gone there if it didn't advertise prize money. So like if you have two events that are both equally fun, one is at your front door and the other one is 2 hour flight away, but the one that's 2 hour flight away, you might put your resources into that. So I think it's fair to pay up what you offer that you're gonna pay. And I just know there have been delays with prize money. People haven't been getting, just like medals and things like that should be really easy to give to people. And also everybody still owed the travel stipend from 2022. So we all put our own resources into it and we executed on our commitments, and then Spartan hasn't on their end. They have said they will be caught up with payments by the end of this year, but they have said many things. So we'll wait to see what happens. But for sure, if I do race now, I would go to races that are close by and that they don't require a lot of my own capital to get there, because there are so many of those that are super interesting that I don't need to travel far, especially because you're not sure if you're ever going to see that return on investment.
Yeah, I've always said, and this has been a problem for years. Unfortunately, this isn't a new issue, but I've always said that Spartan is either like evil or like inept, like incapable. Like I don't understand what it is that like.
Yeah.
I know the pandemic hit hard. It hit a lot of the events industry really hard, hotel industry, like a lot of people, but there's certain things that it's like, okay, that it's communication. Like you need to tell people what they should expect. And Joe and Yancey went on the OCR Report podcast and said that 80% of athletes should be paid by September 1st. And it's currently September 8th. And I'm in talks with a lot of them. It doesn't sound, I mean, I don't believe it to be 80%, but they just keep saying this.
Because there's a lot of us on the travel stipend that haven't been paid yet. And
right. It's super frustrating too, because the sport isn't doing as well in the United States and largely North America too. And when I talk to my European friends, they're like, well, why? And I kind of figure that like Spartan is our main race that we have lots of other fun races, but a lot of them have kind of died off a little bit. Whereas in Europe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like you have a lot more local races and like more international flavor than just Spartan. Is that why you think it's doing better there and you guys are getting paid if it's a paid race?
I don't know for the like availability of races, because in Slovenia there aren't. But that's just, I think, the nature of Slovenian people and what they like to do. And maybe the obstacle races aren't the most popular. Even the Spartan race gets majority of foreign athletes competing, and not so many Slovenians. But I think it's just that the prize money isn't advertised here for most of the races. So people, you get what you expect. I think if it wasn't advertised in US and people would know that signing up, they would sign up knowing they're not going to get any prize money. And when it is advertised, it's paid right away. So I think I don't necessarily think, I think it's the issue of like doing what you're saying you're going to do.
Right.
And like, I understand things have been hard since COVID, but I also feel like there was capital because Spartan has bought other things. So maybe it was more of a problem of prioritizing what they're going to put their money into it, and maybe hoping people were going to forget their own money, which I don't think is, the nicest way to go about things.
Right. It seemed very circular. Like there's a big push, like athletes getting together, like, all right, we're going to come up with like a class action lawsuit. Something's going to happen. And Spartan's like, it does something to kind of like dissolve things a little bit, but not completely. Yeah. And then it like starts to build up again, like every few years. And it's frustrating to see history repeat itself. And I love the sport, but I need the athletes to be taken care of because it needs to be like the top end of the sport still. Yeah, super frustrating.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about like what the travel stipend was? Because when people think about payment, they just think of like prize money, but there's other factors as well. There's like sponsorship deals, this and that. What was the travel stipend?
Yeah, so that was in 2022 when I think that was the last year that the pro team was like in the form that it was back then. And there was tier one, which was $4,000, and tier two, which was $1,500. And it came with obligations to go to a certain number of races and make a certain number of posts. And I don't remember exactly how many of us were on tier one and how many were on tier two, but combined, I believe there are 87 or 88 athletes that were on the travel stipend. And so I know that I can't speak for every single person, but I know that people that I do know, they fulfilled their obligations in terms of going to races and making posts about it. And so did I. And then I just kind of, there was no, in the contract, there's no date for when the travel stipend was going to be paid.
Gotcha.
And I kind of forgot about it. And I actually remembered because they use this platform, build.com. And I was getting paid for something else, and I got a notification. So I went there, and then I saw that there was still this open payment invoice from Spartan from 2022. And then I reached out to them. I was like, hey, is this ever going to be paid? And then I kept getting the emails, where like, thanks for being patient. Thanks for sticking up with us. Because of you, we still exist. But I feel like it's the generic email everybody gets. And I'm just wondering what would happen if I never saw that, or like, remember they owe me. They probably would never have paid. So I think it's like huge kudos to, I think Nicole was like behind the initiative of getting us all together, because I think as a single person, there's just nothing you can achieve, because you can't really sue them because it's going to cost you more than what they owe you.
Right.
There's nothing else you can do than just keep asking. So it's, I think collectively they owe like, well, actually it's not 88 athletes. I forget. I think it might be 27 athletes, but they owe 88,000 for all the travel stipends to, I think, 27 or something like that athletes. But it's quite a number of us.
Yeah, it is. And it's a lot to promise, but when you say you're going to do something, you should do it. So I think that's all we've been asking is like, just give us a transparent timeline of what's happening and when things are happening. But when they keep telling you later, but later never happens, I think that's all we're asking for is like, you committed to this, we signed a contract, we fulfilled our end of things. When do you plan on fulfilling your end of things? And we just haven't been getting a concrete answer. Right. And it was interesting because 99.9% of people won't see this, but like the whole like build.com. So you said like there's like a running total of how much is owed and everything. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so every person has an account. So when they create an invoice, and then you see how much they owe you. But I also feel like it's a bigger issue throughout sports industry. I haven't actually had issues with other races and prize money, but that's because I haven't really been doing that many that have had prize money, or especially recently won prize money. But also like other sports contracts, sometimes they're promised, but then never fulfilled. And I'm not sure what's specific about other industry, probably because the income is so dependent on the sales, and the sales kind of fluctuate. And I know, like, especially for like the brands that sell things, like they have to forecast what they're going to sell ahead of time. And maybe that doesn't always come to fruition. But I think if you, I think, again, it comes to commitment. Like if you say you're going to pay something, you should pay something.
Yeah. And it never hurts to like overly communicate, right? Like if you explain like, hey, we're not sure what the registration is going to be this year. Like it'll be expected X% of whatever. And then like the actual amount of money will be communicated at a later date. That would be fair. But when you take the time to say like this much money, like, okay, if I win this, I cross the finish line, I'm expected this much money. And when you don't, like, it's not just, oh, I'm just out here racing for money. It's respect too, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it affects people's choices of where they're going to race. Like, I don't think anybody's racing just for money, but if you have the same races, one is offering prize money, one is not. And if you have to put in a little bit more money to get to the one that's offering prize money, you're going to do that. So I think, it should be honored.
Yeah. And now I know that, like, I don't know. I don't know many other race owners, CEOs that are so vocal about like no excuses, this and that, other than Joe DeSena. So again, talk about the irony of like all this stemming from Joe.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I think like, that's the whole thing that I think it also bothers people is like integrity with which you lead a company. And I've loved Spartan. I can't really call it a sport because it's a brand, but I do love what they create because like my mom loves it, and mom and I can race on the same course and do the same obstacles and share the same experience. And there's just not a lot of events that provide this, like where,
Right.
they can be elite battles. And then, the Ljubljana Spartan had a para Spartan. So like people in wheelchairs could compete. And I think it's really great. And I think it's great at getting people to want to train for endurance and to want to train for strength, which are the two important things to keep you healthy for a really long time.
Right.
It's just a shame that there's this bureaucracy behind it that's not the best.
Yeah. And then I remember it was either this year or last year. It might have been this year where they said like all of our races are not going to have prize money. We're going to use this as like a recuperating year. We're going to like get our finances back in order. And then they kind of went back on it, which was frustrating because I would rather them have a year where there's like lower competition, whatever, but they get all their finances set up because to my knowledge, and I could be very wrong here, it sounds like it's not just athletes being owed money. For a while, it was employees and venues needing money.
Yeah.
I would just rather like them just take the time, get their stuff figured out because they had two athletes for the U.S. National Series that came from Italy, and I wanted to have them on the show, but things didn't work out. Like I hope it was worth it to them to come over to the
Yeah.
US to race because like it just seems incredibly expensive as someone who just recently went to Europe and knows the cost of flights and the jet lag and all the stuff that people have to go through.
Yeah, and I think it just comes to every person to, budget for themselves, but to budget for yourself, you have to know what your expenses and what your potential, return on that investment will be.
Yeah.
So I think that's the issue that we have. Like I've done so many races. I think most of the races I've done in the last 6 years have no prize money, but I knew going in, so I knew how many of those I could do, that I could still make it through the year with the income that I have and the expenses that I have. So, nobody should rely on prize money, but I think if everybody knows what their abilities are, where they can place, and counting some of that in when you're booking travel is, also part of the equation.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would very much not like to have to keep doing interviews like this because I wish that this problem would resolve itself. But at
Yeah.
this rate, it looks like there's going to be no shortage of athletes that are like bothered by this. And I heard even from some that like it's affected their taxes too, where like they'll report that they won this much money, and when they don't have that much money, it's confusing
Yeah.
as well. And I never would have thought about that.
Yeah.
So it's very
And then
frustrating.
also, like, if you have expenses in one year and then you have a lot of income in like another year. And yeah, I just think, commit.
Yeah.
Commit to doing burpees, commit to doing your strength training, and commit to paying the athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we can have awesome athletes back in our sport. That'd be great. Going back to some other events that I saw you do too. It looked like you ran an event, I want to say in Germany, where you finished and it involved being chased by some Krampus looking things.
Yeah, so that
What
was
was
actually in
that?
Austria. It was crossing of the Carnic Alps. So they're the mountain range that's bordering Italy and Austria. And I signed up for it quite late. I think I signed up for it like 5 or 6 weeks before the event, because I had two quite big injuries in the spring. So I almost fully tore the MCL on my knee. And then just when I was getting back to running way sooner than I thought I would, because I thought my summer was gone, but then it wasn't. Then I tore ATFL, which is one of the tendons in the ankle that's keeping it steady. So then I thought again, my summer was out of the window, but then that also recovered quicker than I thought. So then I was looking for an event that would be mid-August, and I kind of came across it, and I was like, oh, this is way too long and way too many like verticals for me to be able to do it on such a short term. But then my running was just going super well, and I was really enjoying it. And I actually felt the injuries have made me strong because I was doing so much PT that I
Good.
wouldn't have otherwise. So yeah, so I signed up for it, and it ended up being probably one of the best events of my life in terms of performance. The way I felt and the way I was able to really put everything into the race. But we started at midnight, and almost you gain the ridgeline quite quickly. So it's like almost 5,000 foot climb from the start, and then you're on this ridgeline for 40 miles or so. And it was beautiful because the stars were super bright, and then the sun rose, and it was the most beautiful sunrise that I've seen, because I don't see many of them because I sleep a lot. Yeah, and then at the finish line, the Krampus are like this like traditional Austrian monster that chases kids. They were there, and they ran behind every single runner to the finish line. The
Okay.
first runner came at 10:45 in the morning, and the last runner came at 8 p.m. At like in the evening. And they ran with every single one of them. And it must have been like 100 degrees in the middle of the day. And those things are like huge, and they couldn't take them off, because if they took them off, they would never put them back on again when they were
Right.
sweaty. So they were in these like huge things for, what was it, like almost like 10 hours.
Wow.
And I just thought it was very special, because I think every single person felt special for finishing, because every single person, and actually at the registration, when you checked in, you put down which song you wanted them to play when you reached the finish line. And so
wow.
they did that for every single runner. I think, I don't remember how many of us there were. I think 150 was the cap for the event. But still, that's like 150 finishes that were all acknowledged individually. So
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a race that cares about its athletes. That sounds amazing. I saw the video. I'm like, oh, there goes Rea. And then like a person comes by, and then a big fluffy thing. And I'm like, what is this? And then the camera changes, and I see all these guys. I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool.
It was really, really cool.
Yeah. What have been some other events like over the past few years, like in Europe, that stick out to you as being like favorites, I guess?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I've been doing a lot of World Cups in SkiMo, which I think have just been all really, really hard and really humbling, because I never really quite finished very high. So you start to feel very average and not very good when you do those for a very long time.
Rea Kolbl average. You heard it here first.
I mean, I didn't mean it as like a bad thing. But
Yeah.
I felt like maybe my time to compete has passed. But I think it was just because I was always competing with truly the best of the best in the world. But I think the Transalpine would have probably been my second favorite event that I've done. And I think that was also quite some years ago. Maybe that was 2022 as well. And that went from, it was an 8-day stage race that went from Germany across Austria and all the way to Italy. And it ended up being altogether, I think, 180 miles. I'm not entirely sure on the stats, but it was a lot, and it was a lot of up and down. And that was also one of probably my most memorable events. But I think lately I've just been trying to get really, really good at this like 3 to 10 minute event in SkiMo, and haven't really done so many things that I would say were really incredible. But I think just the journey of trying to see how good I can become at this one thing that I wasn't particularly good at ever was fun in a way.
Yeah. And did I see that you were also doing like, was it actual tower running or like tower running like adjacent things?
No. I did some sky races, which were sky races were also really fun. But I think because I've been struggling with my performance and feeling as good as I, used to feel running, I wouldn't say that really any of those performances were really would stand out. They were really beautiful. So I did like one that was in Zermatt that descended down a couloir and just had like insanely steep and climbs and descents. And then I was in Madeira for another sky race that was also really, really gorgeous and very different from any kind of environment that I've ran in before. But I've never really feel like I excelled at them just because maybe my body wasn't ready to perform at the level I wanted it to perform at and knew that I used to perform at. So they were fun.
Sky races, that was what Lindsay was doing for a while too, right?
Yeah. So we kind of all got into sky running.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Do you still keep in touch with a lot of your old competitors and friends?
Not so much more other than just kind of following along what they're doing. We occasionally comment on each other's stories and what we're doing, but I haven't really, probably because I've been in such a different world for a few years now with SkiMo and everything, that I haven't done fun adventures that maybe would be conducive to hanging out with other people.
Totally fair. So we talked again briefly about the KAPE. So Kolbl Athletic Performance and Endurance. Talk more about how people can reach out to you. Are you accepting new clients?
Yes. I'm actually trying to grow the business a little bit on the side as well now, because I feel like I'm in a spot where I don't want it to just all be about racing anymore. So they can, if they go on my Instagram, there's a link to my coaching website, and they can reach out there via email, or they can just write me a DM. But I'm coaching basically mountain endurance sports, so trail running, mountain biking, OCR, which also has a lot of running in it. SkiMo for anybody who's trail running but would like to get into SkiMo, or for anybody who's already doing SkiMo but would like to do it faster. Yeah, I'm accepting new clients, so feel free to reach out.
Perfect. And then any sponsors or people that you'd like to thank?
Yeah, so Ascend still with me.
Yeah.
They've been with me since 2017, and I've loved working with them from the start. And I also feel like they're they're the only company that stuck with me through thick and thin. So for sure, have some protein. It's really good product, and they're really good people. And then I'm working with Elan. They make really good skis, and on the race end, their support is like no problem.
Good.
Yeah, Elan.
And then where can people follow along with your adventures on social media?
So I'm at Rea Kolbl on Instagram, and then on Strava, just Rea Kolbl. I don't think there's very many of them. I put most everything on there with a lot of pictures. So if you want to be inspired to come to Europe and do some running or mountain biking, feel free to follow along.
I will say it's one of the more interesting Instagram profiles that I follow now. Like, again, you do such a variety of things, and I'm like, what is she up to now? Like, oh, that sounds amazing. I don't think I could ever do that, but that sounds really cool. And,
Well, thank you.
And speaking of that, what other events do you have planned for the rest of the year now?
Yeah, I'm going on a mountain bike race. So I'm going to France on Thursday. I signed up for this 110 kilometer, which is like, I think just under 80 miles, mountain bike race that has almost 20,000 feet of climbing. So I'm kind of excited to like be biking now a little bit, because I've done a lot of running racing, and I think my knees and ankles need a little bit of a break. So I'm doing that. And then the week after, also in France, I'm just staying there for 10 days or so. I'm doing an adventure race, which is also something I haven't done in a long time, and I'm really, really excited to go back to. And then after that, I think I'll stop racing for this year. I'm planning a pretty big expedition for February to South America. So I need to start doing some strength training and some high altitude acclimatization, which just requires a little bit more rest and maybe isn't so conducive to high speed performances. So the focus is that, and then also just looking forward for winter again into skiing and all of the stuff that brings.
Awesome. Well, good luck with all of those, and yeah, it's great catching up with you, and I hope Spartan
Likewise.
pays you soon. And
I hope so too. And
yeah,
all the other ads, they owe money too.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Welcome back.
Thank you, Rea. Glad to hear that you're doing well, and hope to see you at another race someday. 4 related episodes. I was actually surprised that she's only been on the show 3 times.
Episode 89
was Killington's Spartan Beast, Ultra, and Sprint with Elites. I remember that because she said that she had fun at that race, which is funny because no one says that about Killington.
Episode 98.
World's Toughest Mudder, Part 2, Champions Brunch and Bar Crawl, and Taunton YMCA Turkey Trot.
Oh, you ran that right after Worlds, and you like destroyed your body.
Yes.
And then episode 216
was Overcome All Obstacles Foundation with Max Fennell, Rea Kolbl, and Ian Hosick. That didn't work out too well, but it was great having them on.
Subscribe and follow wherever you get your podcasts. We're Obstacle Running Adventures on all the podcast players.
Yeah, you can leave us a review on any of the places, but the only place that we'll really see it is Apple Podcasts, even though I don't use that app, but I will check periodically.
Follow us on social media. We are on Facebook and primarily Instagram at Obstacle Running Adventures.
Yeah, shoot us a message or whatever. We'd appreciate that. You can support us financially over on Patreon. Again, join on the website and not the app, since Apple will charge you extra fees.
That is crazy.
Yeah, but this helps us afford to go to the places that we want to go, like World's Toughest Mudder next year, Moisy in France, maybe. Yeah, have thoughts.
Yeah.
Things I want to do.
Coming up next.
Not sure yet. I have lots of ideas. I just have to start planning them and getting them done. Because I don't want any more like last minute episodes. I want to make sure I have like things planned.
I have an episode planned for 2 weeks.
Did you come up with the date?
No, but she said after
Perfect.
City Field.
Well, it could be that. That'd
Not
be great.
City Field.
I think City Field was...
Philly.
That was this past weekend.
Citizens Park.
Yep. I Googled it. I just didn't have the results because no one posted about it yet. And Caitlin, got a joke or a quote to close us out?
My joke is, you can't expect your life to be perfect. You've never lived this life before. You will F up. You will say the wrong thing. You'll make bad decisions in life, work, and relationships. You'll both be the worst version of yourself in moments and be the best in others. The point of life isn't to be perfect. It's to be a great student. And that is Mark Grooves.
Nice.
And then what happens when a ghost drinks booze?
Booze. What?
They get sheep-faced.
Oh, that's a good one. I think we've definitely said that one on the show.
Oh,
That's a good one, probably. All right, well, that just wraps it up. My name is Michael Stefano.
And my name's Caitlin Ritter.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening.
We hope you're feeling motivated, inspired,
And ready to take on your next race or training run.
If you've enjoyed this week's episode, leave us a review
and share it with your fellow adventurous friends.
Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Obstacle Running Adventures.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Join us every week for more news,
Stories and interviews from the community.
Our intro song was Streaker by Straight Up.
And our outro music is Iron Paw by The Best.
Hello.
Hi, Rea. Long time no see. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Things have been busy, but good.
Yeah.
It's super ironic, right?
I didn't know that was a question.